Hello, Year 5, Miss Ryan here. I hope you are all well. I just want to start off by saying a massive thank you to all the children that have sent in their work to the Year 5 email. And I just want to give a few shout outs to some children that we've noticed as the Year 5 team that have been working really, really hard this week in their English. And that is in 5E it was Esther, in 5T it was Leo, in 5P it was Amelia, and in 5W I couldn't choose between the two of you, it was Will and Bryn. So well done to all of you. I'm going to award you all 1 aspiration point and 1 creativity point on Dojo, so well done all of you. Now, I want to make sure that you have all of your work that we've been planning with for the last couple of days, and you have that with you now because we are going to be writing our poems about our chosen planets. So let's get into it.
Okay, so this is the starter task for this lesson. Look at this bad example of a stanza, so what a bad one looks like. So it's my turn, I'm going to read it out to you. So satin is a Oreo, baked by the sun, like the sun as baked it. So I'd like you to pause the video here and have a look at these chili challenges. So chili 1, what could be improved? Chili 2, what features have they got in it? And chili 3, enhance the language, or if you'd like to, try and rewrite the stanza so it sounds much better. Think about the features we've already looked at this week that we've planned. So pause the video here, have a try at all of those 3 chili challenges for me. Okay, welcome back. Hope you've had some time to complete those challenges for me, and here are my answers. So for chili 1, what could be improved? I think everything could be improved. The comparisons are not very good. I think they're very basic, and they've repeated themselves. Baked by the sun, like the sun has baked it, is a repetition, and I think obviously we could use something that would be a lot more effective. Also, satin is an Oreo, not a Oreo, and also like the sun has baked it, not as baked it. So for chili 2, what features have they got in it? They have a metaphor in line 1, so satin is an Oreo, and they have tried to include a simile in the last line, but it's not a real comparison, it's not a good comparison of something, obviously not in a literal sense anyway. And then for chili 3, obviously I want to enhance the language, so I want to change Oreo to flame, and I want to change the simile completely, and I want it to be based around something like a volcano. So I've rewritten the stanza down just below, and I've changed it to satin is a flame flickering in the sun, like a volcano erupting in space. Obviously there is a comparison between satin and the volcano, and I've linked them together by saying it is like a volcano, so it sounds a lot better, a lot more engaging. This lesson we are going to write a poem by selecting appropriate vocabulary. Now the reason why we're doing this to start with obviously is to help Space Commander Bob Lucas, because he is able to see the wonderful space around him but isn't able to put it in words. So we are going to be creating these poems to help Space Commander Bob Lucas hopefully put what he can see in the ISS down on paper for him. So the key vocabulary for the lesson is we're going to be looking at similes, expanded noun phrases and metaphors. We're going to be looking at figurative language, our planets, and obviously we're going to be using some verbs as well. So you need to make sure that you have all the work from Tuesday, Wednesday and Thursday's lesson to support you when writing your poem now. So if you haven't got them in front of you, pause the video here and go collect that for me. Okay, welcome back. Hopefully you have all of that work in front of you and you're ready to get on with this lesson. Okay, so I have my plan here, which I'm going to be using for writing up my poems. However, you might see that I have something circled in pink, which is my fronted adverbial in the night sky. Now, the reason why I've circled that in pink is because I've noticed that I've used a very similar fronted adverbial in my simile. So both in my metaphor and my simile, I've got a very similar fronted adverbial. So I'm going to go through and change that because I know that I can up-level that and make it a bit more interesting, so I'm not using the same fronted adverbial every single time. So I've added above the clouds. I think that might be a better fronted adverbial. It's another fronted adverbial of place, which is absolutely fine, but I've just used the picture to support my understanding. So I've got all of this here which I can use when I'm writing my poems as well, so I'm not going to try and think of anything new. I've got it all here to help me. I've also got yesterday's work with the metaphors where I'm thinking about what Luna could be doing, and I could definitely use that within my poem today as well. Okay, for the stanzas, I'm going to be using this structure to help me. So I'm going to say the planet So the moon is, and then a metaphor, and then a verb with an ing ending and an expanded noun phrase. And the third line would be a simile. But with this simile, I'm going to start it with like or as. So the sentence will start with like or as. I hope that makes sense. So here's the example that I've written. So I've used everything pretty much, apart from in the second line, I've added something in a little bit different. But pretty much every single thing is from my plan. I've copied and pasted a few things because obviously it fits with the structure that I'm using. So the first one is, the moon is a watcher guarding the earth. That it was from yesterday's plan. Watching, so verbing, watching over the empty, desolate space. So I need to think about what. Obviously it was watching over, and I couldn't describe itself, so I had to think about something else it could be watching over. And then as you can see here, as bright as a diamond twirling through space. So there I've started it as, not the moon is as bright as a diamond, I've just said as bright as a diamond twirling through space. So starting it with the thing, obviously we make it as a simile, which is as or like. Then I've created another one using the same structure, but I've added something in blue, and I wonder if you can figure out what that is. So the second stanza is, above the clouds. The moon is a hidden mystical clock, twirling through time and space, floating in its enchanting mystical aura, like a compass exploring the earth. Now the part in blue is a fronted adverbial. I have taken that from my plan and I've added it into my structure. Above the clouds, the moon is a hidden mystical clock twirling through time and space, was the metaphor that I used in yesterday's lesson. Floating, a verb ending in ing, in its enchanting, adjective, mystical, adjective, aura, noun. Then using the simile, starting with, like I said, like or as, like a compass exploring the earth. And I've used that from the simile lesson that was on Wednesday. So I haven't added anything, I haven't changed anything, I've just used the parts from my plan. Okay, and I hope that makes sense. Okay, so we need to consider steps to success for writing your poems now. So these are things that I've thought of. So we need to make sure that you are focusing on your planet, e.g. Venus is, rather than your god or goddess. Your poem isn't about your god or goddess, it's about the planet. So make sure that you're focusing on just the planet. Make sure you're including all the features in the planning. So the planning that you've done, make sure you try and include them within your poem. So you've got similes, metaphors, and expanded noun phrases. The third one, make sure you add detail to your work to make it exciting and engaging to read. So add those expanded noun phrases, add those verbs to expand on your metaphors and similes. And the fourth one, if you would like, you can use a poem structure I've used below. Now you don't need to, but that is a starting point for you if you're unsure where to start. So for Chili 1, I want you to write at least 2 stanzas using the features you've included into your plan, or write your own poem using expanded noun phrases. It's completely up to you. Chili 2, I'd like you to try and use a structure to write your poem. And Chili 3, I want you to do Chili 2, and then, like I did for my one stanza, use fronted adverbials when you're writing them. Now, some of you, once you've written your poems, might go back through and just check and edit through, making sure that it all makes sense, and it is at the best quality you can make it. So making sure you're adding those really interesting adjectives. So make sure once you've written it down that you are editing through it and then writing it up in neat. Some of you might want to perform your completed poem, and I cannot stress how much I would love for you to send in yourselves reading and performing your poem. So here are some useful tips when you come to record it. So think about your tone and emphasis. You're not going to be reading it with a flat tone. You're going to be going exciting in some places and going down and whispering in other places. Making sure that you're adding emphasis to the right part. Making sure that you are clear and the volume that you're using is loud enough. Don't go too quick or too slow. Think about the speed you're reading it and the pace. You could have some FX sounds if you really wanted to in the background, but obviously that's not needed. You could have expressions or actions with certain things and just be really, really enthusiastic. And I really, really hope some of you do perform your poems, so we could maybe put them out onto YouTube to show the rest of the school and just to show the rest of Year 5 as well the amazing work that you've been doing or putting into your poems. Okay, that is everything for this lesson. I hope to see all your wonderful poems soon.
Okay, Year 5, that is everything for this video. Hope you've created a beautiful poem about your planet that we can share with Space Commander Bob Lucas. It should be at least 2 stanzas long, and if you do decide to record yourself, that means that we can share it on YouTube and we can send it to Space Commander Bob Lucas as well. So I would really, really hope that some of you do decide to record yourself performing your poetry. Okay, I hope you enjoyed this week's lessons, and I will see you next Monday for your next English lesson. Stay safe, and I'll see you soon. Bye.